Well, Parsons got involved in this idea of the Moonchild from one of Crowley's novels, and the idea is to create an infant who will be born all through the 9 months of pregnancy. There will be all these magical and magical in quotes and other influences to separate the child from normal earthly influences and make them more compatible with life in outer space, because Parsons saw the future of humanity as being in outer space, and he wanted to create a child who would be equipped to live in outer space. Well, since then we found out that going into outer space creates a mutation in consciousness anyway. 85% of the American astronauts and the Soviet cosmonauts have all had quote, mystical experiences. In Leary's system, these are all Circuit 5 experiences. That is, experiences of change in perception where the beauty of everything becomes so overwhelming that you're overcome by awe. And that's what Edgar Mitchell said. I couldn't believe the Earth was so beautiful. Well, the Earth was so beautiful because his nervous system mutated. There's a book called Space-Time Perceptions of the Cosmonauts, put out by the Soviet Academy, which I enjoyed very much especially because of the introduction, which explains that none of this contradicts Marxism, because Marxism is not fundamentalist materialism, it's dialectical materialism. Therefore, it contains the possibility of matter evolving to higher and higher levels. So therefore, if the cosmonauts have perceptions that don't seem to correspond to the materialist viewpoint, it's just a higher materialist viewpoint. Well, that's how they dealt with it back when Russia was still part of the Soviet Union. Now I suppose they can just accept it without going through all those apologetics. But whether it's Russia or the United States, people who go into zero gravity experience the same kind of change in consciousness that you get on marijuana or hashish. This is only one of the many higher levels of consciousness. It's nothing like LSD or the psychedelics, but it's a definite mutation in consciousness. And Parsons was trying to create a child who would be born with that kind of consciousness and would never be dragged down by the I can't help quoting Timothy Leary again. Gravity is the enemy, levity is the salvation. Levitate, go higher, don't get pulled down, don't get dragged down, don't be too grave, don't be too serious. And Parsons understood that. It's time for us to get used to outer space. And it's happening whether Parsons was responsible or not. Some people think his Mojave Venus working was not completed properly, and that's why we're having all these weird UFO phenomena. Whether that's true or not, we are getting ready for outer space just by the simple fact that so many millions of people believe they've had outer space contacts already. They're turning into moon children in the Parsons sense. And of course, those who have very rigid belief systems find it absolutely terrifying, and all they can remember is that they were raped by little green monsters from outer space. Well, that's not quite what happened, in my opinion, but it's the only sense they can make out of this kind of experience of encountering extraterrestrial intelligence. As Jodie Foster, the scriptwriter, or whoever says in Contact, if we're the only intelligent beings in a universe this size, that's an awful waste of space.